Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Pumela Lezondi. Now, Microsoft finally released Windows 10, which they say fixes Windows 8 problems, but they skipped Windows 9. I guess 10 is a cooler number than 9. Today in the program, we'll talk about the problems the CIPC website has been experiencing. We have info on how mobile money transfers contribute to Kenya's economy. We'll tell you about Business Connections, My World of Tomorrow. And remember that we are live. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Let's start with your social media and technology news. Right, now mobile money transactions now equal 31% of Kenya's GDP. They played a huge role in the rebasing of the country's economy. In the last week, it was announced that Kenya's economy is 25% larger than previously thought. The country has 25.9 million mobile money subscribers. Sarah Kimani is in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, and tells us about their important role.
In one corner of Kenya, Mary Mweni, who would in normal circumstances not afford the out-of-reach solar lighting costs, goes through her evening chores under solar lighting. She is subscribed to M-Kopa Solar, Swahili for Mobile Credit Solar, a startup that is making a difference in Kenya's remote areas and among the country's low-income earners. To enjoy the lighting service, Mweni pays as little as 50 US cents a day through her mobile phone.
So this screen tells how many credits the customer has left. So this one says 7, which means that for the next 7 days, this system will work without them making additional payments. This will count down each night at midnight, and when it gets to 0, 7 days from now, the lights will turn off.
In the Central Business District, a commuter is on his way up country. To get a bus ticket, he paid for his journey's fare using his mobile phone. This, a new requirement that the Kenyan government has introduced under the cashless fare system. We cross over to Kayole Estate on the outskirts of Nairobi. 30-year-old Harun Obare, a mobile phone accessories dealer, has just taken his third loan through his mobile phone. He rarely goes to the bank.
If I go to my bank, they're going to give me the loan. They will take me through processes. But if I use M-Shwari, then I'll get the loan instant. It takes like 10 minutes to have the loan.
The mobile phone is changing the way Kenyans do business, so much so that mobile money transactions played a big role in this week's rebasing of the country's economy. Mobile money transactions now equal 31% of the country's GDP. Last week, Central Bank of Kenya announced that it would include mobile money transactions as key monetary policy indicators.
We should all appreciate that this is one of the fastest growing sector. And we all know that nearly over 75% of all Kenyans do have mobile phones.
According to statistics from the Central Bank of Kenya, mobile money payments grew to $22.3 billion in the first 6 months of this year compared to $10 billion last year. New services that have roped the ICT sector have emerged from what started as a send, receive only money service.
You're able to pay your utility bills, so your power bills, your water bills. Indeed, we have a product called Lipa Kodi. Landlords are using it for collecting rent. It's just entering every single facet of payments. However, the opportunity is still massive because despite all these things that we have brought onto the platform, all these services, still 98% of payment transactions in Kenya are still carried out in cash.
Kenya's central bank has linked the growth of the mobile money payments to what it terms as the penetration of the digital transaction culture that spilled over to creative renaissance and improved telecommunications sector. This, says experts, puts Kenya on track to attain her economic dream of being an upper medium economy by 2030.
I'm not surprised that ICT has emerged to be one of the key contributors of development in the country and a big sector. You only need to see what we've done with M-Pesa, which has been riding on the backbone of better ICT.
Safaricom's M-Pesa, the most successful of Kenya's mobile money transfer systems, has inspired innovations and seen the mushrooming of various apps by young Kenyans eager to cash into mobile phone penetration. Sarah Kimani for SABC Network.
Now, Kenya is big on those mobile money transfers, as we know that M-Pesa has even been transported to Europe. We even have it here in South Africa through Vodacom. Now, Kenya is also working on an underwater cable, and that underwater cable is making it easy for people in that country to connect to the internet. And it's their connection to the internet that has helped with the recalculation of the GDP. Let's take a look.
Kenya is said to have the most concentrated cluster of undersea broadband cables connecting to Europe, the Middle East and Asia. In just 5 years, the landing of some of these cables has delivered speedier internet access and the second cheapest internet costs in Africa after the Gambia. The country's mobile revolution and innovation is well documented, with the mobile money transfer system M-Pesa the most notable. But Kenya's newfound position as the leading connected country on the continent beckons for greater innovation in the internet space.
We're starting to look into what else can be done in the tech space given the resources we now have. So we're seeing a lot of insight into Internet of Things. We're seeing a lot more of people trying to look into hardware as well.
Although Kenya is a low-income country, it boasts internet infrastructure rivaling some of its middle-income counterparts such as Botswana, Namibia and Gabon. In fact, according to the recent report by Liquid Telecom, Kenya's capital city Nairobi has now joined Johannesburg as one of Africa's only 2 regional internet hubs. But according to Nanjira Sambuli of iHub Nairobi, Johannesburg has its flaws.
As the statistics indicate that SA has infrastructure, SA has a consumer base, and it's just where can these new ideas start coming from and where are people testing them out.
With the likes of Lagos, Accra and Kigali in the race, Nairobi and Johannesburg cannot afford to rest on their laurels in retaining their status as Africa's 2 regional internet hubs.
Now, if you were on Twitter a few days ago, you're likely to have seen a tour between Sports Minister Fikile Mbalula and several members of the Economic Freedom Fighters. It started after Mbalula had commented on a tweet about a belt EFF leader Julius Malema was wearing in court, and then it seemed the gloves were off on those online streets. Twitter is a tool that's been used by politicians to campaign for elections and share support for their political parties. But a tweet about EFF leader Julius Malema's belt led to some politicians publicly insulting each other. It all started with a message about hypocrisy from Sports Minister Fikile Mbalula. Then EFF spokesperson Mbuyiseni Ndlozi asked when the minister learned about hypocrisy. Then it was evident that it was a full-on tour. A tour is a war on Twitter. Later, the insults were traded between EFF member who tweets as Sintleti and Mbalula. On the day, there was mention of infidelity, abortions, and even a comb. This was in full view of the public, something that Twitter analysts like Flow Communications' Richard Frank wouldn't advise.
When you're communicating in public. Everybody can read what you're writing about. And I'd say just do the same things you would do in normal conversation. Be polite.
Polite isn't what the politicians were doing on Twitter a few days ago. Mbalula even called Malema a karate kid, and Malema responded by calling Mbalula Mr. Miyagi. Mr. Miyagi is the sensei or trainer in the Karate Kid movies. Here's Vodacom's digital strategist Janine Ferreira on social media etiquette.
The easiest way to measure whether what you are saying on social media is right or wrong is to kind of ask yourself if what I'm saying at the moment gets published on the front page of the Star newspaper tomorrow morning. Will I still have a job? Will I still have friends?
The politicians' tweets did end up in newspapers. After seemingly losing the tour with several EFF members, the sports minister said goodnight on Twitter. Then it was the turn of the public who were not involved in the tour to show their support for their favorite politician. The following day, Mbalula was back again to greet his new followers that obviously started following his account because of the tour. I suppose we should all keep it clean when we're on those online streets. Now, online magazines that is, have made people come up with new ways of creating jobs in South Africa. Young people don't always have to go begging or knocking on people's doors in order for them to find employment, as a lot of them are going on online platforms to create employment for themselves and for other people. We visited 2 of those online magazines. Skipani is street lingo in South Africa. That means what's happening. Bongampongose, Alifatana and Andile Matobela chose this as the name of their entertainment news website. They were in college in Pretoria and realized there wasn't a space that offered information on the party scene in South Africa's capital. The website's success has ensured that the three don't work for a boss after their studies. They say the more eyes they have on the site, the more advertisers are willing to come on board and the better the profits.
So far, so good. People are starting to identify the magazine as a platform to invest in because of the numbers that we have as a publication.
In Johannesburg, Katlego Manyapelo started Previda online magazine as a student in the University of Johannesburg. He graduated recently and his publication has seen him photograph and feature some of the country's biggest celebrities like Bonang Matheba, Lala Hirayama and Luthando Shosha. Previda fuses fashion, celebrity interviews and a critique of South African urban cultures. He says the web has helped him create a platform that didn't exist elsewhere.
People are now running online because they are not finding what they want on print. I love print.
South Africa still has broadband connectivity problems and a lot of our cities don't have adequate Wi-Fi access. So many people can't browse through online publications as they would with a hard copy like this one. But there are many initiatives that are improving internet access. The upside with running an online publication is that one doesn't need a massive space to work. Both Skipani and Previda are operated from home. While print publications aren't going away in South Africa, their sales haven't been great lately. Maybe as South Africa battles a high youth unemployment rate, more young people should think of utilizing online spaces to start businesses, and this doesn't have to be magazines as Matobela, Mpungose and Fatana have done with Skipani or as Manyapelo has done with Previda. Apple has been in crisis control mode the whole week. This is after... And remember, you can find us on SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Let's take a short break, and then when we return, we're going to talk about the problems that a lot of people have been having online as they've been trying to register their companies. Stay with us.
Thanks, Mom. Have fun. You too.
Welcome back. Remember, you can still find us on SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter. On email, we're on News Network at sabc.co.za, and we are live. Now, if you've been trying to register a company online recently, you would have had problems. Nomadiko tells us why.
In the last past few months, Companies and Intellectual Property Commission, or the CIPC, has been working on making the company's registrations easier for customers by cutting down the queues. CIPC, previously known as Companies and Intellectual Property Registration Office, or CIPRO. One of its biggest change is the website. It is now more of a self-service tool. This is to make it easy for South Africans to register companies and to attend to any amendments. As the Commission unveiled its new website on September 17, 2014, the glitches proved apparent and very troublesome. There was a backlog that left the website inaccessible to the customers.
Now, CIPC Commissioner Astrid Luden is in the studio to tell us what actually happened. Hello, and thank you for being a part of our network.
Good evening. Well, I wouldn't say that the website certainly didn't crash. There's been this misperception out there. In fact, we've received large volumes of applications. So normally in a month we receive around 22,000 company registrations, and in the 2 weeks since the website was launched, we received 19,000. But the website has been slow, and the reason for that is that primarily is that we have some legacy infrastructure. We've overhauled most of it, and there's one piece missing, which is our database, and that we are about to upgrade now as well. So actually the uptake on the website has been phenomenal. It's been in line with our normal volumes that we've seen in the organization. And I think the website has made it easier for many people, first-time users, to transact with us as well.
Now, tell us about the new website. What's changed?
The website has 3 components. So the first part is just about information, and that is quite different from what we had before. It takes you step by step through every process that we are responsible for. The second part is a query logging system. So it allows you to log a query and you get a ticket number, something which in the past you also haven't had. And we can now follow up on that, and you can hold us responsible or accountable. And then the third part is the transactional part. So in that, in the past we used to have company registrations and director changes and CC member changes online. We've now expanded the array of services that are available. For example, we've introduced a address change, company and CC address change, which is fully automated. So you don't need to wait for the back office to give you feedback anymore. The same with the financial year-end change. We had a lot of complaints about our director changes in the past and the system. So it was quite important for us to be able to overhaul it and to put a new system, a new design into the market. In terms of company registrations, we've actually simplified the process. We've taken out some unnecessary steps.
Now, Astrid, you mentioned that you've had some legacy problems, and you mentioned that the database is one of those problems. Now, do we have a timeline of when those are going to be fixed?
Well, when we started as an organization 3.5 years ago, almost all the infrastructure of the organization was probably 10 to 15 years outdated, never mind 10 to 15 years old. So we've systematically upgraded most of the infrastructure, and as I mentioned, there's one component missing, which is the database. The database is about 24 years old already in terms of technology, so you understand that we need to deal with it quite carefully, and we're going to put in place a program this week to upgrade the website, the database.
Now, as you're upgrading this database, I'm sure a lot of people who have registered companies on the CIPC are worried that you're going to upgrade and then you're going to lose their details, and then have you put measures in place for those details not to be lost?
Well, that's why we need to plan this very carefully. So, and you'd have to do it separately in a test environment, make sure that you only switch over, and of course we back up all our data. So, we are able to restore the database if anything was to go wrong.
You also mentioned the traffic. Are those people registering, or are those people just visiting the website?
Now, those are people trying to register, not just register companies, also lodge annual returns, director changes, all those processes.
Astrid Luden, Commissioner at CIPC, thank you very much for being a part of our network tonight.
Thank you.
All right, remember that we are on News Network at sabc.co.za on email. After the break, we talk about My World of Tomorrow.
zoom into Africa. This is Sierra Leone. The president is Mr. Ernest Bai Koroma. Sierra Leone got independent from the United Kingdom on 27 April in 1961. The population is more than 6 million people. One of the major languages spoken is English. Monetary unit is Leone.
Welcome back. We are live and on SABC Network, on Facebook and Twitter, News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Now, My World of Tomorrow is a platform that aims to help organizations showcase how they think Africa will experience technology in future. The event is taking place at the Sandton Convention Center from 16 to 18 October. Different technologies will be there and guests will get to listen to a variety of speakers. Joining us in the studio to talk about My World of Tomorrow is Vanessa Alva, Deputy CEO at Business Connection. Hello, and thank you for being a part of our network, Vanessa.
Thank you very much.
What exactly is My World of Tomorrow?
So it is Africa's premier platform for interaction and knowledge sharing of technology and innovation. And we're going to be bringing a continent together under one roof. And what's really exciting and appealing about this conference is it's for the C-suite, so the executive suite, but for the consumer as well. There will be an exhibition zone which will be able to show you the home of the future, the office of the future, the car of the future, virtual dressing rooms, and the like. So this is a conference aimed at two different audiences, the C-suite as well as the consumer.
Now, how have you decided on some of the people that are going to be speaking at My World of Tomorrow?
We've got some fantastic speakers, and if you can imagine, Jared Cohen, founding director of Google Ideas. He will be out from America. Jeremy Bailenson, another really fantastic person from the University of Stanford, California, who's also a founding director of the Human Virtual Lab. We've got other local speakers, Clem Santa, for argument's sake. So really a spectacular rundown of speakers for the 16th to the 18th of October.
And you say this is the biggest of its kind in Africa. What makes it so?
It's the first of its kind, let alone the biggest. And while we believe it's the first, nobody else has brought together an African continent under one roof from a technology perspective. And it really is a calling card for other innovative thinkers.
Now, you calling it My World of Tomorrow. How do we know what My World of Tomorrow is? I'm thinking as well that 10 years ago, no one knew that everybody would be in social media today. But how do we know what the world of tomorrow looks like?
My world of tomorrow is going to change. And I mean, it changes every day. But that's why I think it's very exciting for the consumer as well as the C-suite to be there. This is going to show you already where the future is going. Some of the technology that's been developed and is very advanced that may not be rolled out and implemented. And it's also about the Internet of Things. It's about bringing everything together. If you think about it, everything from an IT perspective is totally integrated. Think about comms and connectivity and how critical and important it is for us. We're going to be showcasing everything coming together. Yeah, I think there's going to be
you mentioned a
things.
lot about speakers that are coming from abroad and speakers that are coming from South Africa. But what if I want to find out about the rest of the African continent? Am I going to be able to find out about the rest of the African continent?
Without a doubt. So we've got a website, mwhatafrica.com. You'll be able to see all of our guest speakers. And not only the guest speakers, you'll be able to see our sponsors and who will be there. Samsung and Cisco are two anchor sponsors. And over and above that, you'll see African companies that will be at the expo over the 3 days.
My World of Tomorrow is, you say it's the first of its kind in Africa, but at the same time, it's not new. Can you tell us about what's different about this one?
What's different about this is it's as much as it's an expo, it's also got an exhibition zone. And there you'll be walking through virtual homes.
And there was no
rooms.
exhibition zone last year and previously?
No, never before. And this is going to be showcasing also the youth technology, learning and development. So we are bringing many different forums together. We call it a calling. Not only is it for the C-suite, like I said, and the consumers, it's a calling to the youth. And we've been aiming it at universities and innovative thinkers and different forums and platforms.
Vanessa Olver, Deputy CEO at Business Connection. Thank you very much for being a part of our network. We'll see you there between the 16th and 18th of October, right?
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's all we have for you. Remember to find us on SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter. We're on News Network at sabc.co.za, or on email. From me, Spumelele Zondi, and the rest of the network team. Have a good one.
Welcome to Internet. Porn or regular?
It's my first day. I'm going to make big bucks working on the internet.
Great. I like that. Come on, I'll introduce you around. I know literally everyone.
Wow. Is it someone's birthday?
Oh no, it's always like this.
Really? How do you guys get any work done?
That's funny. Like. Oh, but seriously? Here's a picture of a cat. Oh, and by looking at this picture of a cat, you give me access to all of your contact information and permission to send push notifications to you, your timeline, and your friends' timelines. I hope that's all right.
Hey, Facebook, your new bandana sucks.
Don't care. Get used to it. Hey, guys, you want to meet the new user? Hey, Google, this is the new user. Hey, newbie, this is Google. If you need to find anything, just ask him.
Oh, actually, I was wondering if...
I could show you around, huh? Introduce you to a few folks?
Oh, no, thank you. Facebook's got me covered.
I could show you some vacation slides. You know? Pop a DVD in. No? All right. I'm the mail boy, too. Really?
The Swaziland Tourism Authority invited Kaleidoscope on a media tour of what has become known as the Little Switzerland of Africa, the Kingdom of Swaziland. The Mantanga Waterfall is one of Swaziland's best known and most accessible waterfalls, as it can be seen within 50 meters.
That's Kaleidoscope, Sundays 5:30 p.m. on SABC News.
What is wrong with African players? Why are they not winning?
Our officials, they don't look at the bigger picture of players being happy before they go to the pitch. Because mind game is very important.
Seek ye first the goals. I am playing the tactical strategy on the field of play, and all other things shall be added onto you. Don't put money before.
African coaches, did they do well?
I think so far they are doing well.
I do not agree. Sometimes local is lekker is dangerous, because I'm telling you, he who cut the road does not know that his back is zigzag.
Ghana proved to be a damp squib.
You cannot go to war with chickens. You go to war with your best commanders.
What will it take for Africa to make it at international level?
Bring professional coaches from anywhere, whether from Mars, Moon, Jupiter, to come and coach and get us the results. That's what we want. You can't be a coach simply because you play football. And Anam, do you have to be a drunkard in order to own a bottle store? No.
Watch Question Time with me, Mpho Tsedu, Monday to Thursday at 5:30 p.m. on the SABC News Channel.
No people.
Groei maar eens een kast. Ja, de paar bezig.